And last but not least, let's talk about the newest feature from Keyon Byron,
Okay.
from representing Trinidad. That would be after the apocalypse, only the strong survive. I've checked it out, right? I've checked the film. I actually watched it last night. I was recording here. We've covered his Batchak Man series, and by the way, we're actually supposed to be getting a Batchak Man spin-off, which is coming very soon, or I should say coming soon, hopefully.
Right.
So, looking forward to that for sure because as much as there were errors, especially technical, as far as the first two episodes of Batchak Man, I hope that this series here, which is called the Peacemakers, I do hope that they will be improved for the most part, right? So with this show here, right, I actually I was hearing about this through the grapevine. I saw a trailer for this earlier on this year. I was just kind of like looking out for it, just kind of curious to see how the show would play out, right? And similar to another show that we covered a few months ago called Infection and Blackland, this is
Right.
actually the third locally made film that I've seen this year to center on, well, the post-apocalypse, right?
Right.
But in this case, it's also so again, it's a virus that impacts the world and it
Right.
kills a majority of people. But in this case here, is not it's well okay. So I assume it's the same thing for Blackland, right? Because we only got so much with Blackland, right? But this case here, it's not like a zombie virus at all. It's just more akin to, well, COVID, right?
Right.
That's what's all being that's all being hinted at, right? Because characters through the show are rocking masks, face masks and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's what it is. It's a COVID. It's a COVID. I don't want to say a post COVID-19, but it's a COVID-19 themed film, right?
Right.
More or less,
Yeah.
right? Which is a cool idea, right? So it's not the Walking Dead stuff again, because we had
Well,
that
the
earlier,
problem
right?
is that everybody and their mother was going to make something like this. I expected, but it was fine.
Yeah, yeah,
It was like, oh wow, COVID-19. Okay. I mean, even
yeah.
Captain America scrap a storyline because of that.
Oh yes, yes, that's true. That's why we got 6 episodes, right? So yeah. So we are introduced to the character of Raven Hunt, who is played by Nakesha Nottingham, right?
Right.
And she, similar to shows of this nature, or post-apocalyptic nature. Sorry, she just kind of goes about her day. She's a scavenger of sorts. Um, but it just pretty much starts off with her just looking for her boyfriend, right?
Right.
Because he's been missing. He went out, for supplies or whatever, but he hasn't returned, right? So she goes out to look for him, right? And then she just runs into like these like just random gang members because we learn in this text scroll at the beginning that yeah, these vicious gangs are now ruling Trinidad, right? So I'll talk about those gangs a little bit, right? And she in the forests where she that lives, but she lives nearby actually, so she's walking about and she'll run into a character or two, and she has to um well, not so much use her wits, but basically she have to fight them off, right? So yeah, she could fight, she could hold her own, and that's cool, right? She runs into someone who is dying, well, someone who is like beat up, like brutalized basically, who is played by Keon himself. This is like one of two appearances that he makes in the film, right? And he gives our hero a flash drive, right? She doesn't know what's on the flash drive, but we learn later on it has to do with basically the virus was a cure for cancer that was botched, right? So
Oof,
yeah,
so it's basically the same plot from thing.
from what?
We call it Will Smith movie.
Oh, I am legend.
Yeah, Legend. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So a an individual by the name of Gunness. She's the
Right.
villain of the show. She's played by Sydney Ledger, right? She is basically one of the scientists, or sorry, I should say one of the people who is involved in, what she wants to do. She wants to kind of revert the virus itself, so she could kind of create a cure in a sense, but
Right.
more she just kind of wants to use this new virus in a sense to kind of gain control of the country in a way, right? So it's like that, right? She just wants control. We learned that she came from humble beginnings. Actually, there's actually a great moment in the very beginning where she's like at home and she's watching this old like 1930s
So,
or 1940s like Warner Brothers gangster film, and it kind of adds a look to who her character is now that I mentioned it to her, because I'll talk about that in a bit, right? But yeah, she's a big baddest, yeah, she's a big bad John in this movie basically, and she has her own goons, and basically they're just trying to find this flash drive, right? So now that they know that Homeboy actually gave it to Raven, now they're trying to hunt her down, right? So in the process, she actually runs into her boyfriend, and we learn some stuff about him, and we kind of learn a bit about the world of this after of this apocalypse itself, right?
right.
And also in the process, she runs into another scavenger who also is skilled and know how to hold his own. He can fight and all that kind of stuff. And they form this sort of bond, this sort of let's kind of team up basically, right? To kind of go after Goddess and her goons. And stop right there, right?
Very true.
So after the apocalypse, boy. So, as I said before, right, with my review of Batshak Man and Infection, it's quite fascinating that we're getting shows like this, out coming from Trinidad. These really zero budget films, genre films in particular,
Yeah.
and it's just like we're not even gonna wait till the film festival comes out. We're just gonna make our own thing, right? And if you don't like it, that's fine, right? And I guess in hindsight. I guess I'm not saying we need stuff like this though, but if there's an audience fit, fine, right? But the question now is just not so much who the audience is, it's just will the audience seek out stuff like that, and how the audience is being built, right? Can remember last time with Batchak Man, we made a comparison with Ansel Harris and his Magnolia series and his Phil Ventures universe, brand, right?
Yeah.
But in his case, he has a loyal following, right? So literally everything that he puts out, be from Magnolia to Blackland and hopefully Night Rogue next year, whatever, what I mean? People are going to be looking forward to it, right? But in the case of Keyon, with his Visionaries productions, um, I do hope that it is some sort of like some sort of audience for his films, right? Because he basically, just to jump in the review here, he's basically sticking to his guns here. He's doing the stuff that he's been doing ever since we saw Batshak Mando, for better or for worse, though.
Right.
There's like a little slight improvement here or there, especially with sound, especially with vocals.
It's
But ever so often though, I felt like he just kind of realized the same old tropes that he did before. So a
right.
majority of scenes take place in the bush, it'll be so to speak, similar to that first Pachak Man film, right? And then also there's the use of this roof on this building in Port of Spain, and it's the same roof that he used in the second Batchak
Yeah.
Man episode, I believe it
Yeah.
was.
Budget.
Yeah, it's a
Man, I work
budgeting.
on
It's a
our
budget.
budget. Yeah. Man, I
Yeah,
work in the budgets.
yeah. Personally, I wish that we got a little bit more variety, but again, budget, right? But it's just so noticeable because we saw those two Batchak Man films, right? I
Yeah.
imagine people going into this will be like, yeah, but that's the same place though. That's the same roof. Like, why?
Well, I
Like,
mean, it's no stuff. I mean, complain about stuff like that is sharp. These kind of complaints like that, stuff like that don't bother me. I mean, over time, goddamn Stargate use the same thing, no? Same forest, same location, same forest, 12 times or whatever it is. Like that don't bother me so much, It's just, but yeah, at least make the effort to, you know, make it thing. But I mean, if you notice it and you think, then I then like that bad
yeah.
sign.
Another thing though that I wish we got a little bit more of is a sense of the world of
Yeah.
this show here, because all right, good setup in terms of the virus, right? Gangs ruling the place, all that kind of stuff. Of course, we're not gonna see the Warriors level type of gangs, if you understand what I mean. Okay, so for those who don't know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we see this bunch of just tons of gang members, and everybody has their own look and features and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, we're not gonna get that, right? It's basically one gang that we see throughout the show here, right? That will be Gunness's gang, right? And you have like her scientists and her goons basically that kind of help out, right? So there's no gangs per se, right? If you wanna be like that, right? Um, but still, you would assume, right? Because it's a post-apocalypse, right? Like gangs. Okay, so I'm not gonna be this is not Monday Night quarterbacking, right? But still, all right. In the logic of the world of post-apocalyptic sci-fi, right? You don't just create gangs for the sake of creating gangs, right? Usually it's to protect something, or if you have some kind of resource or whatever it is, right? So whether it's water or food, or maybe you have the cure, right? So if we are just using COVID-19 as an example, I don't know, maybe you just have like you have vaccines now, but you have to like pay a toll or whatever it is. You got to pay X amount of cash to get that, and maybe I might have some people who don't want to go through that, so they want to probably kind of get like infiltrate or get into someone's turf just to get a kill, and they get
Right.
killed, right? They get shot at. Like stuff like that would have worked though, but but you're just kind of saying, well, we just have gangs because it's there's no governments, and it's just lawlessness. It's just like, well, all right,
No, I
but
mean that's,
you know,
I find
you
that
know,
that good enough. I can't believe I defended it, but I didn't see it. So,
right,
but again,
right, I
that
understand, but
stuff like that is fine. Like if once the government going through, it's fine. I mean, the government, we have a government now, and we have a bunch of gangs already. So it's like, you know,
yeah,
yeah,
I know, but
yeah.
but let's take it from a world building perspective. There, like there
I
should be a reason why there's all these gangs in this place. It can't just be, well, there's no government, there's no police. Like, all right, well, they're gangs, but like, what, like, okay, so if there's like it's like gang warfare, like, what are they gonna fight for? You know what I mean? So that's what I see. Don't want to spend too long on it, but
It's
that's just like
territory.
a
That's
nitpick.
all it is. I mean, again, I don't know if they build up the story because again, I can't believe I defending that story that I didn't watch, and especially given that I had a negative review of his work before.
Yeah, well,
But
they didn't. That's the problem again. That so
right,
I just couldn't help but just speculate or just wish that we got this a
right.
little bit more of the why, right? So it is what it is, right? Um, let me talk for a bit about Sydney Ledger, right? So she really commits to this villain, right? To the point of almost just like eating the scenery in a sense, though.
I don't mind.
Cause
I
yeah,
don't mind if people chewing the scenery. That's fine.
yeah, cause yeah, she
For
is
bullshit like this, yeah, you need to do that.
yeah, cause she is delightfully over the top in this one, though.
Right.
She's just delightfully evil in this one, though, and to the point of you swear like you're watching some kind of like 80s some schlocky 80s action movie. And this is funny because I actually brought this up in my Backtrack Man review, right? Where this kind of feels like you're watching some old film from the 80s, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, boy,
And
she
it's
just
like
kind of
yeah, but
on
it's also,
this.
I kind of compare all of these guys in the same vein as what do you call them people who used to do Xena and them back in the days in New Zealand and Australia. That's
Oh gosh,
feels
that's
everything. Right.
um,
Them now.
sorry, Robert Tappert and Sam Raimi,
Yeah,
those guys.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. The sense where it's this particular grandiose style to everything, right? Especially with Xena, right? But yeah, she is just over the top though. To it's a kind of charm to it though. I must say, like it's laughable, but not too bad though. But it kind of adds in terms of the vibe of the show because as serious as the show takes itself at times though, this is clearly the type of movie that you just have to kind of just shut your brain off and just have fun with it, right? However you want to have fun with it, and there's a place for that. There's not a it's not a diss or anything like that. There's a place for stuff like that, right? There's a place for movies where you just kind of just want to shut your brain off and just kind of just have fun and just kind of laugh at the absurdity of things and just kind of go, oh,
yeah.
where characters get shot. Because yeah, there were moments, unfortunately, which were off screen, but then again, budget where characters get shot. But
That's true.
like you're not expecting them to get shot now, but because it's just so brazen at times, it's like oh shit, like you
Yeah,
just shoot a man dry so it's like
yeah.
that, right? So the show really does play it off as, oh my god, this is how brutal this world is. But sorry, at times it's really hilarious, right? But again, it's the fun that you have while you're watching the show, right? And I mean, I guess if this is the approach, if this is what Keon want to make, fine. But there has to be a loyal audience to stuff like this, right? Or else
Yeah, well,
stuff like that will just keep
I
getting
imagine he
made,
has
and
it.
you just kind of wonder, well, how come people are watching my stuff? But if
Yeah.
people like this kind of stuff and they're really entertained by this, then hey, what can I say, right?
Well, I imagine that is the case already. I mean, he's part of the, what do you call it, local wrestling or whatever it is. So that's why I just kind of assume that he have that audience. I mean, not as big as Ansel, but it's still there. And he done
Yeah,
working with Ansel anyway, so it's not like it's the same crowd. And Trinidad have like what, it's all Trinidad anyway, so it don't really matter.
right. So just a few things before I get to it, right? So speaking of Ansel, I did pick up on a few locations and a few shots that I saw in Blackland, and it's funny too because there's a setup. I'm not gonna say what it is that is eerily similar to what we saw in Blackland or what we could have gotten in Blackland, right? So you can kind of tell that okay, well maybe you're kind of working simultaneously on both shows, whatever it
Right, and it's
is.
too similar to each other. Yeah. That's happening
Yeah,
production all the time.
exactly. But I just wish that it wasn't that noticeable, right? But that's just
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention too the music. It is stock music stuff. So
Yeah.
I like in particular with Gladys's character. So there's like a few moments where she's being bad, right? So there's like this one moment on top of a roof where she's talking down to her subordinates, right? And you're hearing this like gloriously over the top opera music though. It's like ha see hit it horse ha 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 whatever it is though.
Right.
And it just kind of made it so laughable. But what I would say though, it did feel a little out of place and a little slightly loud though, like just in terms of
Yeah,
levels though, because
yeah,
I
it
could
makes
barely
sense.
hear what you're saying. Um Also, just another nitpick. I mean, I know nitpicks, right? But that's something that I noticed. Just seeing this in general for when he makes films going forward.
Right.
There's a moment where a character is being interrogated by a hero, and you were hearing WhatsApp notifications, dude.
Really?
So
So I don't
yeah,
understand why he was hearing that.
yeah, like I was hearing that like two, three times.
No, but
So just
why were we hearing that? Was he issue?
well, it's not the character. It's not established that the character who's being interrogated has a phone. It's clear
Okay.
that someone who is supposed to be quiet off screen has the phone on,
Or the
right?
song,
So
song on set,
yeah, it, it,
quiet
it
on
it
set.
pick up,
And
right?
I don't know what
Because
again
there's no
give
one sec, because there's no EDR to this at all, right? So
right.
it
That's what I was
wasn't
suspicious of.
as like bad as say the last sorry the second episode of Backtrack Man, where you can kind of hear the history room and all that kind of stuff, right? Luckily we don't have that, but still you have like a couple of moments where you just hear like off-screen ambient noise now. But that
Okay.
WhatsApp notification though almost took me out of that one scene though.
Okay.
So
Right.
just be mindful next time. Kind of tell everybody to kind of have the phone on silent, right? So that's it. Um, as far
No,
as the
they could have blocked out that song. I did. They couldn't block out that song, really.
I don't know. You could have
Okay.
just simply tell the person to have the damn phone. That's all.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far as the hero goes, Raven, uh, I would say though the show kind of slowly builds the type of character that she is though,
Right.
like like some like somewhere before the like when the second act really kicks in, that's where you kind of see her actually fight and all that kind of stuff. And I mean,
Right.
yes, they give a reason why she kind of lets loose and throws kind of does punches and kicks and all that kind of stuff, even shoots people in cold blood, you know what I mean, in self-defense, so to speak. um but I felt like the build up itself, because there's like an actual moment where a character kind of talks down on her, and that moment in particular I felt didn't work as well as all that. It was just kind of like to be the sort of sleazy bacchanal moment in the show though, but I
Right.
felt
Right.
it didn't really work in terms of the character, like who the character is supposed to be. It was just like, oh, we
Yeah.
just have to have this bacchanal moment, right? But it just didn't work, and then the payoff was like, oh, nah boy. But
Yeah. Okay.
seeing
Yeah.
her kind of hold her own was cool. Yes, they had to use
How
camera
old
angles
the
and stuff.
actress is? How
I'm
old she
not
is?
sure how old she is. Probably in her I'm assuming, so probably 20s or 30s. I'm assuming, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and to be fair, I mean, it's that she's not as skilled in fighting like some of the other characters. Because yeah, you see, I assume some people from like I think it's the New Entertainment Wrestling League. So yeah, you're
Right.
seeing characters kind of flipping and doing the kicks and all that kind of stuff. So they had to
Yeah,
kind of work around it to
yeah,
make it look like she could fight. So those things.
yeah, those dudes pretty talented. There are a
Yeah,
couple of
yeah.
them who like ridiculously good at that shit. I don't know if he's still working with them, but like there's a guy Hyperdrive. Yeah, that guy was amazing.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it is
uh,
quite noticeable that there are people who are more skilled in fighting than she is, right?
right.
But
That's fine.
in terms of what they going for, it's just like, all right, she could still hold she own. They do the thing, similar to Infection, where main characters had to be rocking tree lines, sorry, they had to be rocking cutlasses, and guns
Yeah,
as well too. There's actually a really funny moment where a character say, why are they bringing all the guns for, boy? Like we go with cutlass, I go with cutlass, let me square off with cutlass, nah? You know what I mean?
right.
So that was a cool moment. And also, as far as positives, points for more colloquial dialogue, man. You know what I mean? So
Okay. Yeah.
the characters kind of feel like, yeah, boy, like what am I? You know what I mean? Like, cause that's the world. That's how it should be, especially as we deal with gangsters. So they're not gonna talk standard English because we need to please the masses outside of traders. Like, no, we can't talk so, boy, because now we talk, like what am I? Like that's how it is. Then I mean.
Yeah.
And how the story like the story plays out well enough. Like with the start, middle, end, and stuff like that. There's a few drawn out moments. Like a few scenes I felt could have been removed altogether. Case in point, a flashback scene involving Raven and a friend of hers. That's all I'll say. There's also a moment involving or should say Raven and her boyfriend, right? But then
Right.
there's a moment involving a friend of Raven's and another woman, which I felt also should have been taken out as well. That added nothing to the show, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
Is our friend? Is our friend Aliyawa? He gave my role. Very good.
and it was just there though.
Right.
And it's also this includes there's also like a moment involving characters who are infected, but you don't they
Right.
have this little time spent on who they are. I'm not saying like stop the show to tell us where how the characters get infected, all that kind of stuff. It's just
Yeah. I
they
don't need
have
to
it
that, but yeah.
and then they just go, but it's just like, well, they just go so fast. Like, well, what's the point of having them there? So it just again kind of comes off as it's more about the gangs than the virus, right? Or how it's really affecting people. Like I understand we work with budget, but still you really have to establish the world of it, right? That saying stop to give a news reports or whatnot, but that's kind of show us how serious this thing is, right? Like how if like let's just say if one of our heroes gets infected, like what will happen? And I mean, like really raise the stakes, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, right? So if you enjoy it, like I would say it works in terms of just schlocky, shut your brain off entertainment, and that's not gonna be for everyone for sure. Definitely. And yes, the hiccups, the technical hiccups are noticeable, but they're not as glaring as before. Fortunately, right? There's improvement, right? There's slight improvement. Particularly if you compare it to like what we got with the Batchakman episodes, right? But
Yeah.
still room for improvement, right? So hopefully with the next films, improvement, right? That's what we want. We want improvement, right? So for what it is, and it being a film, it being a feature, I will give this a very light shade of 5, man. It's
Right.
aight. It's
Yeah.
aight for what it is, man. Still, but you have to go in kind of knowing what to expect though. So don't go in expecting this. Again, we talk about zero budget here, right? So don't
Yeah.
don't go in expecting exquisite lighting and cinematography and
No,
all
you
that
see
kind of
that
stuff,
one
right?
menace forget that. You see the thing is don't fight on the whole lighting thing. People just forget that you could rely on natural lighting with your camera. Like Ansel nail it and Ansel have a black magic 6K. You know what you're doing. Cause that
Yeah,
relies entirely on natural lighting. So you gotta rely on bullshit. Cause see once you do that whole digital thing in the classical sense instead of relying on replicated film, sorry, you get trapped with the mess.
yeah,
So
yeah. And again, it's a matter of how you look at it,
Local,
right? So,
yeah, local
yeah,
filmmaking is you had to rely on entirely natural lighting. You can't get out, you can't get away from that.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it's a matter of how you look at this film, right? So, if you're going expecting this to be some, I don't want to say competent, but just very well shot and all that kind of stuff, like very well acted, all that kind of stuff. Like it's not that, right? It is what it is. You gotta kind of go in knowing that if that's not for you, if you just kind of watch a bit of it, it's like, nah, I can't take this way, then it's not for you. You know what I mean? But if you're just willing to just kind of look past it and just at least be entertained by it, and not in a,
Yeah,
oh, this is
take that
so
chance.
bad, ha 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 ha, right? But I mean, if you want to look at it that way, that's up to you. That's your opinion, though. But for me, I just kind of saw it as okay. If this is the approach, if
Yeah.
schlocky action films is Keon's thing,
Well,
then
yeah, I
fine,
don't
let
know.
it be your thing.
Why I don't want him to fall into the trap is the birdemic thing, right? Where birdemic
Me
start
too.
off as taking itself seriously, then they try to do part two, and well, we leaning into it, and it's a dumb joke this time, and it's like, yeah, but like if you don't want any, you want to laugh with people instead of people laughing at you. All right, fine.
Yeah, but not just for the sequel, but just how the birds were included in that first movie, though, and then
No, but
expecting
I
people
just
to be
talking
like,
about
"Wow, I want people to take this seriously, guys, because it's
right.
about global warming, guys." But
But
look at
the
the
first film,
birds, though. Like,
no, the
look at that.
first
Like, there's
film
no excuse. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, well, I was saying the first film had the problem of the first one took itself seriously, but the sequel they decided to like laugh with itself now, but
Yeah,
that ended
yeah.
up failing.
Nah.
Yeah, that ended up failing too. And I don't know, I find it had movies in the 80s that you could do, yeah, but you had to do your creature feature stuff and spend your money on that now. Like one of my favorite movies with Treat Williams, Dead Heat, stuff like that. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
have
Dead
to
Heat. Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Classic film.
class, yeah. But you had to get creature feature stuff. And what kind of annoying me is that they should really sit down and get local like makeup people and think to really like build some interesting stuff now. Like, yeah, we live in carnival country, guys. Come on. You could get all of that stuff, done now. You don't know who to look for and then make your sets and whatever it is. But I ain't getting any of that. I ain't see this one, so I can't judge particularly, but from a judgment of the last thing that Keon did, I was pretty underwhelmed with the strength that Trinidad could do. Trinidad's real
Yeah, yeah.
strength. Trinidad's real strength is costume stuff. That is what we could do. Right, really good at that. We have literally a multi-billion-dollar local industry based on that whole thing. It
I
must have
know,
people.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
It
Hey,
must have side.
as you're talking about it, I was actually thinking like the same thing for years now. Like, like why haven't? Because remember the beauty of cinema of different countries is that it can kind of take what it is distinct to you and make it work, right? So case in
Yeah.
point, Hong Kong action cinema, just taking that style but adding it to action films, right? Or
Right.
Japanese cinema, like taking Japanese theater and
Yeah.
applying it to their content. So if we're good at carnival, like why haven't we took taken that what we love, what I mean,
Well,
not just
we
music
can,
but costume design and whatnot and applied it to a film. Like I
we
mean, if all they waited for me to do it, I mean,
we have no, we have done this already, but I didn't think it was the best
yeah, but that's
execution. That was
not to the level that we just put every year to, well, except for this year, to like our carnival shows though, but
no,
whatever.
it's where the money, it's where the money is. What my saying is that
Right.
we already had films that did that, and Trinidad, I'll straight up say Trinidad is less of a film culture and more of a theater culture. Like
That's true. Hmm.
our theater stuff is great. In terms of thick, we had the late great, what do you call him? He was murdered,
Raymond
unfortunately.
Chukong.
Chukong, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, stuff like is we know that we need to make the thing with film is that film have to spell we had to spell out a particular aesthetic with film, and we didn't really do that yet. But the thing is, we had a film that did it. It's just I didn't think the execution all that hot, and that was Bazodina. Bazodi
Oh yeah.
technically
Oh
was that.
yeah.
Bazodi
Right.
kind of covered the gamut of Trinidad influence and culture. I get what they was trying to go for. It's just it didn't really pan out all that well, especially the third act at least I should say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That
yeah,
that
the
too.
third,
That. Hmm.
yeah, just the
Yeah.
third act. Everything else was I thought was normal. Like it was normal. Everything just the third act they messed up on. I wish you could have
Right. Right.
get a chance to do that over. They had more time, or whatever it is. But yeah,
Yeah. But
anyway,
but
finish
I'll
up,
just
finish.
say that's just a wrap up, right? So I would say if you are really like if you're really like nitpicky in terms of quality, then this isn't gonna be for you at all, though. But in terms of all right, right, I could see we getting that, man. You know what I mean? If I just kind of shut my brain off for a bit, and just enjoy it for what it is. I mean, however serious, you want to take it, then, yeah, you appreciate it, right? But that's in closing though, that's kind of continuing what I said before about, there's a fascination with how things are going with these new crop of films, right? I just hope that at the end of it all, though, it's really about kind of establishing something of value and longevity, right? So, like it's cool if you wanna like if you have an idea and I just want to make an action film because I want to make an action film, right? But still, it has like I just don't want it to be, oh, I just made it because I wanted to make it, right? It has to be like, all right, I want to get better at it, and then I'm just eventually gonna get better. But the films themselves are gonna get better, and people are gonna be talking about our stuff as in local film, I mean, as in Trinbagonian stuff, right? Um, so I just do hope for Keyon and his team know that not saying that they should have some kind of plan laid out as to what it is they're gonna do for the next 5-10 years, but at least they have a goal with these films, right? And not just making it just because they want to make a
No,
film, or they want to have
again,
their own production studio with a whole bunch of films. Just wrap it up. But like, no, this is where we want to take films, right? If we really want to show you all that we could make whatever type of films, well, not every type, but whatever type of films we can make it down here, regardless of genre. Once you have the great idea and the energy and the cast and crew involved, we could do this thing, right? And inspire other filmmakers down here to pretty
yeah,
much do the same, right? But I just hope it's not just a fly by night. Oh, I just want to make a film because what I mean. I just hope that there's
yeah,
some
yeah.
sort of
I said, yeah,
goal in
yeah,
mind.
yeah. Let me finish to kind of
I'm
kind of
sorry. I'm
shut down
sorry.
everything.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
they kind of already have that because again they could do the WWE films thing because they have a wrestling organization that could have spent a
Right.
little bit of money on that. That's pretty much it. It's already there and it's in the structure.
Right.
They could already do what they want now. In that sense now.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So they already there. Just whoever the company, whoever it is, I forget the name, but they Tunapuna Takarigo, whatever it is, that place.
Right.
Yeah, that there already. They could spend the money now.
Right.
Yeah, just get some cameras. They could instead of focusing on the wrestling stuff, you do both now. You do the
Mm.
live shows and then you do the film thing. Much like the WWE. WWE take a hot minute to make movies, and when they started making movies, they made a couple okay ones, right?
Yeah. Okay ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not bad. And there's yeah, that's from WWE. That not bad. That was okay.
Yeah.
And, right, just get a little bit of talent and some local film people. And you need a little bit of impurities for the ice to form around, right? If you understand that metaphor. So just whoever could get the money and make it work now.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, those were my thoughts on After the Apocalypse. Only the Strong Survive. I'll put the link to this in the description. And I mean, yeah, I mean, give it a look. You may like it or you may not, but at least just check it out. We show support, show love, and here's hoping that Keyon continues his filmmaking career, not just with Batchak Man, but with other films as well, though.
Right,
And of course that he just improves on his craft, though. And that's all we gotta say, man.